G'day legends, Sunken Dutchman here. I'm going to show you how I fillet up goatfish, or red mullet some people call them. They are very easy fish to fillet. A lot of people like to cook them whole, but I like to take the fillets off. Just if you've got people in the family who don't like eating fish off the bone and whatnot, it's easier that way. They are a beautiful fish. I don't know if the camera can actually pick it up, but they've got the most amazing electric, like lightning blue striations that come out from their face. They're very pretty fish, but unlucky for them, they are also very, very tasty. These have been gutted already and scaled in the water and bled as well. So I'm just going to show you how to whip the fillets off and take the pin bones out. So with these, first cut in, I'll just like to go in behind the pec fin all the way to the top of the head, and then I just take my knife, trace that backbone. They have very, very, very soft flesh. Again, as always, rest them on ice for 24 hours if you can before you try and fillet them, because they can get a little mushy if you try and fillet them the same day and straight away. Once you've opened it up, as you can see there, just trace that backbone. Right, once you're down over the other side, point your knife down, and then you can come out and through the underside like that. They've got very small bones, very easy to cut through. I like to go over the ribs, so I just trace the tops of the ribs, break the connection from the pin bone, and then trace over the top of the ribs, and then down over the top there like that. And that is pretty much one fillet come off. So they're not big, but they are very, very tasty. Now I love, there's a lot of flavour that comes from the skin of the goatfish. They got this amazing, pink skin. They eat like crabs and worms and stuff, so a lot of their flavour comes from what they eat. So yeah, I like to keep the skin on. It just makes them I think it tastes a little bit better. And now all I'm going to do here is cut the pin bones out like that, down the middle, and trace the other side. Again, very, very, very soft flesh, so just be careful. Don't apply too much pressure with your hands when you're filleting it, because you can just mush the flesh. A couple of times to get through. That's all the pin bones there. That's a rib bone. I'll neaten that up. And that is it. A beautiful little morsel. They're not a big fish, but man, they are tasty. So if you see them out there, get stuck into them. There's plenty. I think they're a pretty sustainable fish. There's plenty of them. But yeah, beautiful little fillet. And that is how you smash up a goatfish. All right. I'm going to show you how to fillet up a blue throat wrasse. So this is a blue throat wrasse. Beautiful fish. Call it blue throat wrasse, obviously, because it's got a pretty striking blue throat. These are great fish to eat if you are a person that doesn't like fishy fish. Also, the flesh is just super white, super moist, really forgiving fish. Yeah, so really, really good to eat. Great in ceviche, stuff like that. Yeah, I really like it. Ceviche is probably my go-to with these fish, but my mum wanted a fish because she's requested one, so I'm going to cut this up and I'll show you how to fillet a blue throat wrasse. So just behind the pec fin, I've already scaled this because these guys have big scales for the fish that they are. Once they're scaled, they're very easy to fillet. If you left the scales on, you can't cut directly through. You sort of got to puncture underneath the scales like that at that angle, and then you'd follow the fish's headline, and then same angle down, out through the belly cavity like that. So you've released the sort of head and the collar there. Once you have released the head and the collar, I like to turn my knife and just do a very shallow cut, nice and slow, tracing that backbone. Nice and slow. A good sharp knife helps heaps. And then just trace it down. All you're trying to do is literally make a first incision, a cavity there for you to get your knife in. You're not trying to get all the way down to the backbone. Once that cavity's done, you sort of like push a little bit on the fillet and it just opens up, and then you run your knife back up and beat it along the backbone. Right, here you can start to open up the fish, look at actually what you're doing. So tracing that backbone, being sure to be nice and gentle, not applying too much pressure by ripping this fillet open, because they're still a soft flesh fish, but you're just tracing that skeleton. Yeah, you want to hear your knife bead up against it all the way down to the spine. All right, all the way through. Once you get to the spine, you can make a little incision here. Just makes it a bit easier to get through. Once you get to the spine, you want hard angle down on the other side, just so you're not missing any of that meat. And then once you're on the other side of the skeleton, you can lay your knife flat against the bottom side of the skeleton and just trace it out. And that frees up the bottom of the fillet there. You can see here, you can see the skeleton there, right? I'm right up against that backbone, minimal meat loss. Once you get to the pin bones, just angle your knife up and trace the knife back like that. That releases the rib bones from the pin bones, and then I trace down over those rib bones, making sure, again, the knife just rests on them so you're not missing any flesh. And just trace it out and then puncture the skin, and out you go. Oh, one last rib bone. Right, put that over for there, and that's basically the fillet release. Now I like these skinless, so I'm going to take the skin off. Just a little bit of pressure on the back there, and just you want to cut the fillet down to the skin, and then once you get a little bit of purchase, if you bring it over to the edge of your working surface, you can just pull back and forth and trace that fish all the way up. Alright, and then that is a perfect, get rid of the skin for you, perfect skinless fillet. As you can see, beautiful white flesh, really thick sort of flakes that you get off these things. Last thing to do is to get the pin bones out. So trace up the middle, feel them where they end, and that is pretty much it. And then, because I've gone over the top of the ribs, that's your skinless, boneless fillet. Have at it.